more proof that the Sussexes, particularly Meghan, is in financial trouble. Look no further than this. She's hawking herself for a cheapo weekend, or not a cheapo weekend, a cheap-sounding weekend at very high prices.
Yeah.
Come and spend 5 minutes with Meghan. It'll cost you more than $3,000.
I'd rather pay my rent. I'd rather pay my rent than listen to this woman talk her dribble, her, what do we call it, word salad.
Big positive story. And I think, in many ways, sort of perhaps stem the tide of any growing sentiment of republicanism down under for many years to come, because I think Australia fell in love with Harry and Meghan, and it was very, very successful. I certainly overhear.
Lady C, it would strain credulity to think that Harry had not been made aware that Meghan was engaging in such harassing and bullying workplace behavior at the palace, would it not?
He saw it. He saw it. And he hasn't only seen it at the palace, he's seen it at Montecito. He's seen it everywhere. Meghan doesn't, he thinks, he thrills to the power.
Today, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle confirmed they are planning a trip to Australia in mid-April. Their spokesperson says the visit will focus on private business and charity meetings. On the surface, it sounds polished, official, even glamorous. But here's the twist many people are pointing out. This announcement did not arrive during a moment of celebration or success. It landed right after a serious shock hit the headlines. Reports say Netflix has stepped back from Meghan, the same streaming giant that once looked like the engine behind the Sussex media ambitions. The big partnership that was supposed to deliver a wave of projects suddenly looks quiet. No new shows announced, no renewals, no clear second chance. Just a sudden pause that has people talking. Then, almost instantly, boom! A brand new headline appears. Harry and Meghan heading to Australia. Coincidence? Online observers don't seem convinced. Many are already calling it exactly what it looks like to them, a polished distraction. In today's fast-moving media cycle, one flashy international visit can shift the spotlight in seconds. Think about it.
And she's let it be known also that she, in fact, severed ties with Netflix. She hasn't actually said this, but it's been filtered through the usual gossip sources. Sussex sources, that she, in fact, it was her that instigated the break from Netflix because she felt they were
holding her back.
They were holding her back. They were too cautious. She wanted to go global, and they were cautious about that, and therefore she can't have Netflix dragging her down anymore. She's got to break out and realize the massive potential of this business. What?
Glossy photos, public walkabouts, stylish outfits, crowds waving from behind barricades. Suddenly, the conversation changes. Instead of tough business questions, people start debating travel plans and royal-style appearances. And remember the bigger picture. The last time Harry and Meghan visited Australia was during their 2018 royal tour. Massive crowds filled the streets, cameras flashed non-stop, and the media coverage exploded with excitement for a moment. Back then, the Sussex name looked unstoppable, packed with momentum and global attention. Fast forward 7 years, and the atmosphere feels very different. They are no longer working royals, and the brand they built around streaming deals, lifestyle ventures, and high-profile appearances was expected to grow even bigger through Netflix. That platform was supposed to be the launchpad for a powerful media presence, but now that foundation suddenly looks shaken. Reports say Netflix has stepped away from the massive multi-million-dollar agreement that once positioned Harry and Meghan as global content creators.
Netflix clearly decided is, A, with love, Meghan, there's no point in us being involved in as ever. B, my instinct, my sense is that Netflix realized there's no money in this business. There's no point in us being involved in as ever. And C, and this is the big one, she's going, we're going to go global, gotta go global. Going global with food products is incredibly complicated.
That deal was supposed to open doors to documentaries, series, and major storytelling projects. Instead, the situation now appears quiet and uncertain. Then right after that news spreads, another headline explodes across the internet. Australia, Sydney, Melbourne. Bright cameras, travel buzz, and instant attention grabbing the spotlight again. So the real conversation is no longer just about a casual overseas visit. The bigger question people keep asking is simple. Why does the timing appear right after such a major business setback? When a huge partnership breaks apart, PR professionals often talk about a classic strategy: shift the spotlight and keep the narrative moving forward. Because of that, this trip is being viewed by some observers as more than just a friendly visit. To them, it feels like a carefully timed media moment. The headlines alone are already reshaping the story. What began as talk about a major deal ending is quickly turning into excitement about a glamorous return. Yes, Harry and Meghan are heading back to Australia, but many watchers say the focus is not only about fans waiting to see them again.
Big thing, and they were getting massive coverage on everything they did, and it was mainly positive. So I always look back with some sort of look at it and think, well, why was there all this bad feeling? I don't know, because actually the reporting was very, very positive. And I mean, the highlight for me actually was going to was, apart from we had the big story that she was pregnant, and that was announced when we were just getting the briefing right at the beginning.
It is also redirecting attention away from a much larger situation unfolding behind the scenes. Netflix is out. The media empire people expected to grow now looks uncertain. Yet suddenly the online conversation is filled with travel plans, public appearances, and possible events instead of a difficult business setback. That is the real power of headlines today. One flashy announcement can flip the public conversation in a flash. If this Australia trip unfolds the way it was first introduced, it may not feel like a quiet visit at all. It could easily turn into a full media spectacle. Early reports say Harry and Meghan are expected to appear in Sydney and Melbourne, two of the biggest and most influential cities in Australia. According to their spokesperson, the trip will include private business meetings along with several charitable engagements. It sounds polished and professional on the surface, a neat description that feels official and carefully packaged. But critics quickly noticed something unusual. Almost no specific details have been confirmed yet. No clear schedule, no event list, just a broad promise that more information will be revealed soon. In the world of high-profile public figures, that kind of vague announcement often signals something important. The headline itself can matter more than the actual plan, because once that headline hits the media cycle, the mission is already complete within hours. And that is exactly what happened. News outlets across the globe immediately pushed the same story. Harry and Meghan are returning to Australia after more than 7 years.
For me, actually, was going to Tonga, and then the lineup of the kids from the airport, and practically seemed everybody had turned out to see them. It was so colourful, very humid, but it was really colourful, and there was a lot of goodwill, and I think a lot. That's why, as I say, I look back now, people, when you read about it, and you think, oh, well, there was all these other things, all these undercurrents going on. Actually, it was a very, very positive tour. They came back and we chatted to both Meghan and Harry on the plane that we shared with them when we were flying from Australia to the islands. And yeah, I thought it was fairly positive.
You just mentioned chatting to Harry and Meghan because, of course, as part of the press pack, you were travelling with them. What were they like at that time?
Look, on the actual plane itself, she seemed quite...
Old photos from their famous 2018 royal tour suddenly started circulating again across social media and news sites. Crowds cheering, cameras flashing, walkabouts packed with fans. Those images came roaring back into the spotlight. Commentators quickly jumped in to analyze what kind of reception the couple might face this time around. And just like that, the storyline flipped almost overnight. Instead of people debating the sudden end of Meghan's Netflix partnership, the conversation shifted toward the idea of a major international comeback moment. Travel plans, appearances, and possible media interviews started dominating the headlines. Some reports even hinted that Meghan could appear on an Australian podcast during the visit. The show being mentioned is called Her Best Life, linked to media personality Jackie O. Henderson. If that appearance happens, it could add another burst of publicity to a trip that is already generating major buzz. There are also whispers floating around that Meghan could join a live event connected to that same brand. Something similar to a celebrity-style Q&A appearance, the kind that pulls in a crowd, sparks instant headlines, and lights up social media feeds within minutes. Events like that often turn into full media moments, packed with cameras and commentary. None of this has been officially confirmed yet, but the rumors alone are already doing their job. They spark curiosity, build anticipation, and most importantly, create a steady stream of headlines. Because once the cameras start flashing and photographers capture polished images around Sydney Harbour or glamorous venues in Melbourne, the whole narrative can shift again in a flash. Suddenly, the focus turns back to fashion, public appearances, and that bright celebrity energy. That kind of spotlight can easily push uncomfortable business conversations straight out of view. And recently, that spotlight had started to feel very tense. The reported collapse of the Netflix partnership triggered serious questions about the long-term strength of the Sussex business model. That streaming deal was widely seen as the solid foundation for their life after stepping away from royal duties. It was expected to power documentaries, media projects, and a growing entertainment presence. But now, reports suggest the relationship ended abruptly, leaving a major gap in the media structure they were building. And that makes the timing of this Australia trip look even more interesting. Big international appearances can be powerful tools in the media world. They refresh public perception, create the image of influence and global reach, and remind audiences of status and visibility. Most importantly, they can make everything appear like the story is still moving forward exactly as planned. But if this really is a carefully timed media moment, then the Australia headlines might not only be about travel plans, they could also be about buying time. Time to reshape the narrative, time to redirect attention, and time to convince the public that the Netflix fallout is not the beginning of a bigger storm. And this is where the situation starts heating up even more. The Netflix agreement was supposed to be the crown jewel of the Sussex media brand. That partnership was meant to anchor their entire entertainment strategy after stepping away from royal duties. But now, the picture looks very different. Reports claim the platform stepped away from the partnership, halted future projects, and quietly closed the door on the deal. Suddenly, the foundation that supported the Sussex media ambitions looks unstable.
They're reminding me that their first truly royal tour in Australia, this is again, I think, another attempt to feign a faux royal tour. But that first tour was reportedly when Meghan turned to one of her aides and said, "I cannot believe I'm not getting paid for this."
Oh, she did say that.
She did say that.
She did say that, and I'm sure she said it either before or after. The tea managed to jump out of her cup towards Lady Cosgrove.
So that's...
That polished launch into the streaming world is no longer the powerful engine it once appeared to be. The momentum that made their media future seem unstoppable has taken a serious hit. Yet while the public is seeing bright headlines about Australia, the situation behind the scenes appears far less glamorous. When you step back and look at the timing, the pattern becomes easier to notice. This Australia trip may not only be about appearances. Critics argue it looks like a perfectly timed distraction, a move that pulls attention away from a struggling media strategy and redirects it towards something far more exciting. Sydney, Melbourne, stylish public events, fresh photographs, social media buzzing everywhere. Now the headlines are filled with talk about travel plans, fashion choices, and celebrity energy. What is missing from the spotlight is the much bigger story. A multi-million-dollar streaming partnership that reportedly came to an abrupt end. Some insiders even claim the couple's PR team acted quickly to reshape the moment. Instead of allowing negative coverage to dominate the news cycle, the strategy may have been simple. Launch a headline so eye-catching that the earlier business setback fades into the background. Meanwhile, many media outlets continue publishing glossy travel features, outfit breakdowns, and lifestyle commentary. And, slowly, the deeper question about the Netflix exit drifts out of the spotlight. Because in the entertainment world, headlines can work like a shield. And right now, that shift in attention arrives at a very convenient moment. This situation is not only about losing a business partner, it touches the very foundation of the Sussex brand itself. Without Netflix, every other venture faces sharper scrutiny. Streaming ideas, lifestyle projects, speaking engagements, public appearances, everything comes under the microscope. The big question quietly hanging in the air is simple. How stable is the entire operation now? How strong is the empire they promised to build? That question is starting to echo louder and louder. And here is the twist that many observers keep pointing out. A high-profile trip to Australia instantly creates a very different image. Suddenly, the couple can appear as confident entrepreneurs, philanthropists, and global figures moving from city to city with influence and visibility. The visuals alone tell a powerful story. International travel, packed events, flashing cameras, and polished appearances. Meanwhile, the story that really shook the business side, the Netflix split, slowly drifts away from the center of attention. To many critics, the strategy seems easy to read. Glamour over reality, distraction over damage, headlines over a shaky business moment. The public sees travel photos, smiling appearances, and exciting coverage. But behind the curtain, some analysts believe the financial foundation could be facing real pressure. Still, in the world of public perception, a flashy Australia tour can buy something extremely valuable: time. Time to reshape the narrative, time to control the headlines, time to hope the business setback stops dominating the conversation. Because when one of the biggest deals connected to your brand suddenly collapses, sometimes the next move is to create a spectacle so bright and polished that people stop looking for the cracks underneath. And now, attention turns to the trip itself. Reports say Harry and Meghan plan to visit Sydney and Melbourne, two of Australia's biggest and most influential cities. But here is the detail that has many people raising their eyebrows. Almost nothing about this trip has actually been confirmed. No exact venues, no confirmed partner organizations, not even a detailed schedule, just broad phrases like private business meetings and philanthropic engagements. That type of wording often signals careful message control. It sounds professional and impressive, yet it leaves plenty of room to shape the story as events unfold. So why the sudden rush to announce the trip? Because behind the bold headlines, the situation may be far more complicated. Reports claim Netflix fully stepped away from Meghan, ending the partnership that was once expected to turn her into a global content powerhouse almost overnight. What once looked like a powerful and stable media empire suddenly appears far less certain. Yet almost immediately, the public conversation shifted to something much lighter and more glamorous: a return trip to Australia, travel buzz, stylish appearances, social media moments lighting up every feed, instant distraction. That is exactly how some insiders describe the situation. The timing of this announcement looks almost too perfect. Right as news spreads that the Netflix partnership has ended, a brand new headline suddenly takes over the spotlight. Harry and Meghan heading to Australia. Just like that, the conversation changes. Red carpet-style moments replace talk about a business setback. Fashion chatter replaces financial questions. Glamour fills the headlines while the discussion about vanished deals quietly fades into the background. Many observers believe the PR strategy behind it is straightforward. Shift attention before deeper cracks start showing. Launch a major international trip, create excitement, and flood the media cycle with fresh images and appearances. Harry and Meghan traveling across Australia instantly generates headlines and waves of social media buzz. Cameras, commentary, and speculation begin rolling almost immediately. There is even talk that Meghan might appear on Australia's Her Best Life podcast during the visit. Some rumors also suggest she could attend exclusive besties-style events connected to the same brand. Even the speculation alone adds another layer of intrigue, and that speculation serves a purpose. It keeps people talking, keeps the headlines spinning, and pushes the Netflix fallout further into the background for a while. That is distraction at full speed, a headline machine moving faster than any carefully written press statement ever could. Every glamorous moment in Australia adds another layer to the shiny story surrounding the trip. But behind that glow, critics say the situation may not look nearly as polished. The streaming partnership reportedly collapsed, and the financial foundation of the Sussex media brand is now facing sharper questions. What makes the moment even more dramatic is the contrast with the past. Back in 2018, their Australian tour was celebrated across the country. The image looked strong, polished, and packed with momentum for the Sussex brand. Now, 7 years later, the atmosphere feels very different. Many observers believe this new visit may be less about celebration and more about managing public perception. Every flight to Sydney or Melbourne, every press photo, every appearance. To some watchers, it all feels carefully planned.
This was while Meghan was a suitcase girl on an American game show called Deal or No Deal, and her job was to open a suitcase in which either there was money contained within or not. Meghan auditioned for that job, and then later, once she became royal, said that it was sexist, misogynistic, and only objectified young women, and that they simply weren't interested in her vast, deep intellect.
The real question is not whether this trip looks exciting or glamorous. The bigger question is whether it is doing the job many critics believe it was meant to do: keep the world distracted while a much larger situation unfolds behind the scenes. Because while the public sees bright photos from Australia, stylish outfits, and polished public appearances, the reality behind those headlines may be far more complicated. First, there is Netflix. The deal that once positioned Harry and Meghan as major global content creators has reportedly fallen apart. That partnership was supposed to anchor their media future and open the door to major productions. Instead, reports say Netflix stepped away from the collaboration and ended the multi-million-dollar agreement. No renewals, no upcoming productions, no fresh projects waiting in the pipeline, just a quiet end to what was once promoted as a powerful partnership. And suddenly, the media empire that was meant to carry their brand forward appears far less solid. That is exactly why the timing of the Australia announcement is raising eyebrows. But Netflix is not the only challenge people are discussing. Their lifestyle brand, as ever, is also facing questions about product sales. Earlier headlines celebrated the launch with excitement, even claiming that certain items sold out quickly. But critics argue the bigger picture may be more complicated. Some reports suggest there could be unsold inventory, including items like fruit spreads, candles, and other products tied to the brand. According to those claims, some stock may be moving slower than expected, leaving products sitting in storage and raising questions about costs and demand. Then there is Archewell, the foundation created to support charitable initiatives. Public records show donations have fluctuated while administrative expenses have remained significant. At one point, the organization was listed as delinquent in California before the issue was later resolved. All of this forms the financial backdrop that critics say the Australia headlines may be overshadowing with travel buzz and media excitement. The timing almost feels surgical to some observers. Netflix steps away. Questions begin surfacing around as ever. Archewell faces scrutiny just as reporters start digging deeper. Then, boom! Harry and Meghan suddenly announce a high-profile trip to Australia, and almost instantly, the headlines shift direction. Stories start focusing on fashion photos, glamorous arrivals, and the excitement of a global visit instead of the tougher questions building behind the scenes. And once the celebrity-style moments begin, the conversation can change incredibly fast. Suddenly, the headlines are no longer about broken partnerships or financial pressure. Instead, the narrative turns towards style, travel plans, and global influence. Look at the outfits. Look at the itinerary. Look at the international spotlight shining again. Some insiders even claim the PR push behind the Australia trip appears intense, almost rushed, as if the goal is to quickly replace a difficult storyline with something far more dazzling and attention-grabbing. But critics argue that cracks in a business venture do not stay hidden forever. A struggling media strategy eventually draws attention no matter how bright the headlines become. For now, though, every glamorous moment from Sydney or Melbourne can act like a temporary shield. Each photo opportunity, each public appearance, each stylish arrival keeps the spotlight fixed on celebrity energy instead of deeper business questions. And that shift in focus can be powerful, because while audiences scroll through polished photos and smiling walkabouts, some observers believe a very different story may be unfolding behind the scenes. In that view, Australia becomes more than just another overseas trip. It turns into a powerful distraction, a carefully timed moment designed to buy breathing room while the public keeps watching, clicking, and sharing travel headlines. The louder the excitement around the tour becomes, the easier it may be for many people to overlook the serious questions forming in the background. Because behind every photo, every event, and every glamorous story coming out of Australia, another reality could be developing quietly. Beneath the polished images and bright headlines, critics say the financial picture around the brand has been facing growing pressure. And this is where all the pieces suddenly connect. The Australia trip, the media buzz, the stylish public appearances, all of it arrives at the exact moment several challenges are being discussed. Reports say the Netflix partnership has ended. Questions have surfaced about product sales linked to the As Ever brand. And Archewell has faced administrative scrutiny in public records. Put together, those issues create a much bigger backdrop to the story now unfolding in the headlines. Yet the headlines the public sees tell a very different story. Instead of business questions or complicated financial discussions, the spotlight is filled with red carpet-style photos, cocktail gatherings, fashionable appearances, and glamorous travel coverage. The images look polished, exciting, and full of celebrity energy. That is the real power of spectacle. Every arrival in Sydney or Melbourne, every carefully planned photo opportunity, and every rumor about podcast appearances or exclusive events helps push attention toward excitement rather than serious business concerns. The visual story becomes impossible to ignore. Critics say the media narrative is now heavily centered on appearances. Meanwhile, deeper questions about partnerships, projects, and financial direction remain quietly in the background. Because when a major deal ends, when product lines begin facing scrutiny, and when a charitable foundation attracts attention from regulators, people naturally start asking bigger questions. Questions about stability, questions about credibility, questions about the long-term future of the brand. And moments like this can temporarily reshape how the public sees everything. They buy time. They create the feeling that things are still moving forward with confidence and influence. But behind the scenes, critics argue that the pressure surrounding the brand may actually be increasing. From media ventures to business products to charitable initiatives, more questions keep appearing. The headlines shout excitement and glamour, yet the deeper conversation looks far more complicated. This type of narrative only works if the public stays focused on the surface, if audiences keep watching the outfits, the travel photos, and the glamorous entrances without stopping to ask about the business side. In that situation, Australia becomes the stage, the public becomes the audience, and the larger story involving Netflix, As Ever, and Archewell stays just outside the brightest spotlight. While cameras flash and media coverage celebrates the visit, another conversation continues quietly in the background. The reported end of a major streaming partnership, questions surrounding product sales, scrutiny connected to administrative records involving a foundation. Those are the issues critics say still remain unresolved. So when Harry and Meghan appear for photos on a sunny Sydney pier, and when the coverage highlights stylish events and celebrity moments, some observers believe there may be more happening beneath the surface. Behind every polished headline, they point to a deal that ended, products that raised sales questions, and a charity that faced administrative challenges. And in that light, the glamorous Australia headlines may tell only part of the story. The Australia trip now looks far less like a casual visit and much more like a dramatic spotlight shift. A dazzling wave of travel coverage suddenly floods the headlines, pulling attention away from tougher conversations happening behind the scenes. Every arrival, every glamorous appearance, every carefully captured press photo adds another layer to the spectacle. And the longer the world focuses on the excitement in Australia, the less attention may fall on the deeper questions quietly building in the background. While cameras follow stylish walkabouts and buzzing events, the bigger picture around partnerships, business ventures, and long-term plans continues unfolding behind the curtain. As headlines keep rolling and social media fills with travel photos and event coverage, one thing becomes clear. The brand is facing serious questions, and the future direction of the empire still feels uncertain. If you found this breakdown interesting, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next story. Drop your thoughts in the comments and share this video with someone who follows royal news and media drama. Stay tuned to Crown Aura for more deep dives into the headlines everyone is talking about.